Hey guys, welcome back to Witch Baby Wednesdays. Today I am talking about the principle of rhythm as it is in the Kabbalion. If you would like to learn more about that and how to really apply it practically to your life and your magic, keep watching.
One day I'll be a queen with a kingdom all for me, and I'll cherish everything as I drop to my knees, cause I know how dark it could be. I'll always come.
Hey guys, Darian here from Darian Empire. If you are new here, as always, I tell all my newbies, welcome. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you want to get more videos just like this one. I post every single Wednesday. At least this series is every single Wednesday. I have plenty of videos on my channel that are incredible and will help you to completely transform your life and now your magical and manifestational practices. Stick around till the end of the video because I will be doing a tarot reading. I'm going to be pulling a couple of cards. They do not have a date stamp on them, so it doesn't matter when you're watching. Usually it pertains to this principle, whatever the principle is of the week though. Today, what I've been doing in this particular series is talking all about the 7 Hermetic Principles. We are on the 5th principle. Yes, this is the 5th principle. So we have 2 more of these videos. It's been a long one. It's been a really long one. I mean, I guess 8 videos is really like 2 months, right? So it's been like 2 months of doing these videos. So I'm getting a little bit like anxious. Are you guys getting anxious? You're like, all right, let's just get into the magic already. I know. And this is like baseline kind of magic stuff. So I'm just going to read straight from the Kabbalion. The principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. So if you hear the law of karma, what goes around comes around. This is the principle of rhythm. Now, I tried to Google before I came on here the rule of 3, which is a Wiccan rule that Wiccans believe that whatever sort of magic you put out into the world comes back to you threefold. Now, I don't know where they got the 3 from. I did try to look that up if somebody wants to comment down below. But basically, they're getting at the same concept that whatever you put out to you comes back to you. So in the principle of rhythm, it does state that it comes back to you equally. Now, I think where people just that think on a practical level, maybe you started to learn about the law of attraction and you learned that like whatever energy you put out there comes back to you, or whatever you do and think will come back to you or whatever. It's really important to understand that this is not necessarily literal. Sometimes it can be literal. Sometimes we can experience instant karma. So it's very obvious that I thought a negative thought and then I felt nauseous, right? When I was pregnant, I was highly sensitive. So every time I felt bad emotionally, I actually felt physical pain. That was like instant karma. You know what I'm saying? So, which can be a wonderful thing for us that really want to be self-aware, right? But it's not like an eye for an eye. It's not like if I'm really nice to this person, then other people will be really nice to me. That's not at all actually what the principle of rhythm and the law of karma actually means. It's really about the energy that you are putting out there to the world. And you will then receive that energy in its sort of equivocal frequency. So if you've been watching these videos, if you haven't been watching these videos, go back to learn about the principle of vibration and all of that kind of stuff, and then you'll start to get an idea of what I mean by like frequencies. So it's really you put out and the universe matches that frequency. For some reason, what's coming to me is like, if you have a 401k and you have, you know, your business or your corporation that you work for will match 20% up to 100% of 20%. So if you know, whatever you put out, they're going to match dollar for dollar up to 20% of your pay or whatever the case may be. I know I just threw out a whole bunch of numbers. I used to be a finance girl, so there's some numbers there. But that's kind of how the universe works, right? Like I'm gonna pitch in, you know, $100, you're gonna match dollar for dollar up to a certain extent or whatever, but the universe does that 100% all the time, matches you dollar for dollar as far as frequency vibrations are concerned. So how can we apply this to our lives, or actually not have to be the victims of the pendulum backswing? So what this looks like in our own lives as far as the principle of rhythm, we're going to have moments where we're flying high and everything looks magical on the outside, and then we're going to have moments where it might seem like everything's been ripped away from us. It might seem like, you know, we used to be really wealthy and now we're not wealthy. I used to love my life and now I'm not loving my life so much, right? So you will always, it is inevitable that you will always have these moments in your life where you are on a backswing or an upswing in every single aspect of your life. Sometimes it's more obvious things like that. Sometimes it shows up as people harming you over and over and over and over and over again, and you feeling like that karma has yet to hit them, and then eventually one day, boom, it like all hits them. Sometimes it hits them little by little. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that at the end of this video, but the way they talk about in the Kabbalion how to really master this is, and Abe Hicks talks about this as well. I know I mention Abe Hicks every single time, but you definitely should listen to on YouTube Abe Hicks. So when things are flying high, for one, you don't really want to be attached to anything on the physical plane, right? That's just first and foremost. We learn that on our spiritual path. You don't really want to have an attachment in the sense that when the highs are high and the lows are low, you also go with it. So most people that don't have a true sense, or don't have any sense of self-mastery whatsoever, they're not on a spiritual path. Nothing wrong with those people. Absolutely nothing wrong with those people. But people who aren't living consciously, having really an awareness about themselves, they just go with the flow of wherever the pendulum is swinging, right? So the pendulum in politics will swing far right and then far left. And I mean, look, that's literally what happened in America when like Obama was in office and then Trump was in office. Like those two couldn't really be more opposite, right? So that was like sort of a pendulum swing thing. And then what happens? Most of America got all caught up in all of that because most of America, unfortunately, well, most of the voters, I guess, the voting people in America don't, when it comes to politics, not maybe all of their lives, but it's pretty obvious that when it comes to politics, if you were one of the people that got really up in arms, shit, I was too. If you're really one of those people that were really getting up in arms about politics, and we really put a lot into that, and you let it affect our own lives on a personal level, there's an attachment to it, right? There's an attachment, meaning there's a lack of consciousness in that area of your life within your own mind. And we all are feeling that on a collective level, right? So we have the ability to overcome that when we, first of all, just detach as much as we can from, and what I mean by detach is like, just because my bank account isn't at where I want it to be, it doesn't mean that my self-worth isn't at where I want it to be, right? Like detaching your self-worth and who you are as an abundant, worthy, limitless being, that doesn't change because of what's going on the pendulum swing, right? It's kind of just understanding like the pendulum's going to swing, it's going to swing. But also something Abe Hicks would teach is like when the pendulum's swinging high, dive into that, enjoy it, enjoy the deliciousness of what it feels like to fall in love for the first time, to meet the love of your life, to get that raise, to finally be living your dream, to, you know, enjoy that. But when the pendulum swings back and things don't look the way you want them to, and you're not in the experience of your desires, it's imperative if you want to rise above this becoming a victim necessarily of this principle. It's important to, in those moments of the backswing where things don't look as good as you want them to look, maybe we're in a winter phase, right, of our lives, where things look dead, but they're really not. They're like gestating underneath the soil, right? We want to have absolute faith. We want to say, everything that's happening right now is the universe working things out for me. Everything is working out in my favor, and I trust with 100% absolute faith. And that takes practice, don't get me wrong, but that's how we rise above this pendulum swing and not really get caught up in all of it. So another way that I really found a lot of celebration, I really wanted to celebrate when I read this, or the realization that I came to while I was reading this was, you guys watched, if you watched my tea talk, very long tea talk about a lot of the stuff that I've been going through in the last 2 years, or that I went through in the last 2 years. I definitely been on a backswing. Let's just call that. I literally have been calling it the winter in my life. It helped me to have even more, not just solace, but actually celebrate that the fact that because there is an equal backswing and an equal forward swing, because of that, I know that it's almost like the universe owes me. And I'm like, my check is coming. You know what I mean? Like, I can find solace in that. And also, one thing that they pointed out in the book, that there isn't, for every forward swing, there isn't a backswing. The way it works is it literally works like a catapult or something like that, where it actually, like here, this high vibe is the normal state. And the backswing happens like pulling a bow and arrow or something like that. And then when you let it go, that happens through resistance, right? That's resistance that we place along our trail, right? We experience contract. We actually subconsciously or consciously, but deliberately in some way or another, dive into contrast in order to have, go further, right? So we will have a backswing, and that will create a higher forward swing, but there's never, like, if we have a high forward swing, a backswing that has to come with that. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So our natural state is that high vibe. That's our neutral state, is a high vibration, is very neutral. So you never have to fear that, like, if I get a whole bunch of wonderful things, that I'm gonna have to pay for all these wonderful things. It does not work that way. So just know that. That is not how it works. Our natural state of being is this high vibrational state. So when we are on a backswing, that is the unnatural state. We're in a space of resistance, but that backswing is important for us to move even more expanded past this neutral space, right? So we're constantly backswing and moving forward, backswing, but it's like taking 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, right? So we never really go back to where, we never really go backwards. We think we do, but we never really do. If you really dive into what's happening in ourselves vibrationally, we never really go backwards. We just go forwards a whole lot, and then we kind of move back a little bit and then go forwards a whole lot. And that's for like a whole nother video. But so that was something that really gave me solace. Here's another way. Let's say somebody is harming you over and over and over again, right? Maybe you're in an abusive relationship. Maybe, someone just continues to do you dirty again and again, or somebody dirty, or do wrong, right? Let's even take somebody like Donald Trump, or all of the dictators that are in a place of power right now. It seems like they keep getting away with doing all this terrible stuff. And it seems really unfair, and you're just like, where is karma when you need her? Do you know what I'm saying? So let's say this is happening to you in your own life. The reason it continues to happen, so technically this means you're on a backswing, right? The pendulum is being pulled back, the bow and arrow, the bow is being pulled back. You're in a state of resistance. The reason it continues to happen and karma is not happening for you is because you have yet to let go. You do not have to perform black magic on somebody for karma to hit them. If you know that on a spiritual level, beyond your ego, that they are really due some karma, because it would benefit them to see that their actions affect people and, help them to connect with love. Like, it would truly benefit them for them to get a taste of their own medicine. You don't actually have to perform any sort of black magic or anything like that. All you really have to do is let go and allow the natural state of universal law to do its work. That's all you have to do. Every single solitary time I have had people do, some serious harm to me over long periods of time. Serious, like life-threatening harm to me. Nothing ever happened to them until, and I'm not one to like hurt people intentionally. Yeah, there were times back then where I did things to try to gain power or make myself feel a sense of personal power, but I always felt like I can't actually intentionally harm somebody, because I did feel like that would come back to me. That was bad karma. I just wasn't about that. So, but every time I just moved on with my life and started doing what I knew, like I just started doing my soul work or doing what fed my soul and, whatever, the universe took care of it in a way that I could never even imagine. And it was always 10 times worse than I ever could have done to them. Not that I wanted to do 10 times worse, but I also felt like my conscience was completely clean. I can't even begin to say, I feel like it would really feed the ego if I started to say some of these terrible things that I had nothing to do with, that happened to people that harmed me for long periods of time. And I felt that feeling of when is karma going to come through? I'm a good person. What's happening? I'm not putting out this terrible energy to them. I feel like I've only put love out to them, and this is what I'm getting in return. And of course that also has to do with me feeling like a victim, and me, the moment I let all of that go, karma just hit them. It was like I was standing in the way of karma being able to happen, because I was sitting there going, why isn't anything happening? I was sitting there in resistance. And the moment I just said, okay, you know what? I got to just put this down. Maybe I even forgave those people and just said, I got to just pivot towards what my soul wants me to do. I got to play my guitar. I got to get up on a stage and sing. I got to start, putting my message out there of love and helping people and doing what feels best to me, what I feel like I was put on this earth to do, and just focus on me and what's good for me. And every single time I did that and pivoted away from focusing on those people who are doing bad and wanting karma to hit them or whatever, I just let it go. It literally was I just let the pendulum go, and it just swung back, and it swung back to them just as hard as it swung to me. But it's I got it over time. It could have been 3-4 years of them just continually doing this, and this is this pendulum swinging back, swinging back, swinging back, swinging back. And then all of a sudden I stopped doing the dance with them where they were perpetrators and I was victim. That was a dance that was happening between the two of us. I stopped doing the dance and I let the pendulum go. And it's like imagine dropping something from 5 feet and dropping something from 50 feet. That's going to come down like a damn bullet, rather than this is going to come down dropping a quarter from 5 feet. You know what I mean? That's not that big of a deal. This is going to hurt a lot more. So it just swung back on them. And I had a clean conscience, and I didn't, I felt, being my Libra rising self, I knew that justice had been served. I felt this real sense of contentment and calm, and I knew that this is what was meant to be. And I also knew that that was their karma, that they chose that unconsciously or consciously, doesn't matter. They chose that karma. And all I had to do was let go and let God, essentially. And so that, it's that's, to me, I really truly believe that they're as far as black magic, white magic, that's such a weird thing in and of itself. I talked about the principle of polarity. I think that was last week. And so this concept of black and white magic is all relative, what you think is black and what you think is white. But if you're intentionally, I know that I know personally, from my own personal experience, from my own personal spiritual wisdom from within and knowledge from the world that I've learned over the years, and things I've read and things I've experienced and things I just have channeled, I know that you don't actually have to harm people to get back at them, or people who have harmed you. You don't actually have to do that. In most cases, you don't. There may be some cases where you do have to maybe harm somebody, you know, if somebody's really physically harming somebody. Obviously, if somebody's like, if you just think about it, if somebody's physically attacking you, you're gonna have to hurt them, you know what I mean? Like, to protect yourself in that instant. But in most cases, you really can just allow the principles to just do their work, and all you really have to do is get out of the way. And so when it comes to the principle of rhythm, like, just get out of the way. Let the pendulum swing, and all you have to do is stay tuned into you, enjoy it when it's on an upswing, and then get out of the mother effing way when it's on a backswing, or when it's been on a backswing for too long, step out of the way so that it can go back to the upswing, right? I think that's probably the biggest lesson to take from this, is when you've been on a backswing for far too long, feeling like the world is against you, like you've been swimming against the current, like nothing is working, your job is to let go. Let go. The universe owes you. It owes you. Like the universe owes you a debt because you've been on this backswing. And it's not even like the universe owes you a debt, but like, you gotta get your shit back to balance, because you're not, you know? You're not. And some of us have times in our lives where we like that really hard backswing and like real forward motion. And that definitely has been my life in a lot of ways. And sometimes some of us just like a short forward and back swing, and they just like to stay here. And you know, and we each have our preferences, we each have our moments, and you can think about right now, do you want a really dramatic up and down swing? Because you got to think about it, when it's really, really bad and you let that pendulum swing back, it's going to be like euphoria when that pendulum swings forward. And some of us really like the taste of euphoria. That you won't necessarily feel that kind of euphoric feeling if you're just on like a gentle backswing, but some people prefer that, right? I am very living on the edge, dramatic kind of a person, and so I tend to do a really big, you know, up and back swing. So that's just how I roll. It's whatevs. I don't really care. It's whatevs. So just know that and apply that to your own magical practices, and understand, you know, what you put out, it can come back to you if it's something that doesn't feel so good to you. Is there a way to do it where you can work with the law of rhythm and the pendulum swinging and the law of karma and all of that? Or is it something that you feel is absolutely necessary, and then you can just kind of bite the bullet when something negative comes back to you and rise above it and say, everything's working out for me, it's all wonderful, it's all beautiful, and I choose to decide that that's what it is, that no matter what is happening around me, everything's working out for me. But then also knowing that when you put good things out there, the good things are going to come back to you, you know? Yeah, there's a lot that you can learn from this principle. Those are just a few ways of applying that to your everyday life and magical practice. So let's do a quick tarot reading. So I'm going to be reading from, this is an oracle deck that I have not read from for a long time. This is the Little Reminders Law of Attraction Oracle to guide you to wealth and prosperity. This is like this is probably the first oracle deck I ever had in my life. And for some reason, I just feel like pulling from it. So let's get some guidance. Whomever's watching this right now. Security and patience. Ooh. So look, this is a picture of Buddha under the tree. Remember the story of Buddha. And then security, we've got a little turtle here. So the first thing that comes to me is like your sense of security is coming, but just being patient with that. Like it will show up in the physical world, but also to create a sense of security, like in your home. I don't know why, like if whatever you need to do to take measures to feel more secure in your home, whether it's like, I don't know, it could be like changing your locks or putting in a home security system, or it could be just like putting up angels at each post of your house, whether that be actual physical angels or just setting the intention to put angels there, it doesn't really matter. Whatever makes you feel secure. Now, making sure that you're not doing it because you feel fearful, but just that you feel the joy of feeling the sense of security. I'm really feeling like definitely if you're watching this, today is the day that I'm posting this, is the dark moon or new moon. Some people consider it the dark moon, some people consider it the new moon, and it really is about going within, and we really can find that sense of security. But what happens when, I feel like security is not the right word, but when we find that sense of security and then we go out in the world feeling secure about ourselves, about who we are, but also feeling safe to share who we are, feeling safe to get out there in the world and actually bring that sense of safety and security with us. So this first one says, there's like a affirmation on the back, and it says, I choose to feel secure and to work so that my bank account is full. These are all pertaining to money. And that's also another sense of security. Even if you could sit and meditate on what it would feel like to be financially secure and actually set the intention that you are financially secure, that you are secure in love, that you are secure in your relationships, that you are secure in yourself, that nobody can really harm you, that pendulum swing or people getting at you or whatever can't swing you off of your game because you're secure, you're grounded in who you are. The other one says, I am patient, persistent, and disciplined in pursuing my goals. So that sense of, if you think about the Buddha and if you think about Buddhist traditions and what that really means, there really is, if you sit in meditation, you watch your thoughts go through the pendulum swing, right? And your goal is to persevere in this patient, calm, secure energy and stay there. And so I'm really getting the sense that that is what's going to give you your sense of security. Meditate, 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 meditate. Go within, journal about how you're feeling and really let it flow. Let the ebbs and flows of what your emotions are going through, the tides of your own emotions. The moon is connected to emotions. The moon also changes the tides. So the tides of your own emotion, I guess the moon maybe also changes the pendulum swing as well, if you think about that. So, as these tides of your own emotions go in and out and ebb and flow, watch them. Just allow the flow to continue and get into the rhythm of the principle of rhythm and just allowing that to occur, right? So I guess one last thing is really building momentum is also, when I said get into the rhythm of something, rhythm is just in and of itself is a really beautiful tool to create everything that you want in our lives, right? Every physical manifestation is the result of getting into a rhythm of a similar vibration again and again and again. So you wake up, you may be feeling like crap, but you get in front of your mirror and you say your affirmations, or you sit in your meditation, and no matter how you're feeling, no matter how your emotions are ebbing and flowing and what the tides of your soul is happening, or not soul, but emotional self is happening, you're still going to get into this rhythm. You have to change. It's like a new rhythm, right? You're going to still sit and meditate. That's how we start a practice. No matter what's happening, I'm going to focus here. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be disciplined. And that's really where you're going to gain your sense of security. The turtle is really prominent for me. That's about creating that shell, creating that home. I'm a Cancer moon, so I need my shell and my home to be really secure and really beautiful. And I really feel like, especially if you're watching this right now, but whenever you're watching this, is really a time for creating a loving environment for yourself. I just did a Facebook Live. If you want to go over to my Facebook page, Darien Empire, and watch that, if you're watching this on the day that I've posted this, what is today? July 31st, 2019. I just did a new moon, dark moon reading, And I really said, surround your home with angelic energy. Just this loving, supportive, secure, safe, loving, safe energy. You know, create a safe space for yourself. And also, you know, be patient with how long it takes to get there, to the point where you actually do start to feel secure. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with creating that sense of security for yourself. But also, this is really prominent for me to say this to you. It's your job to create your own sense of security. It's your job to create your own sense of safety. Source can absolutely help you with that. Source is absolutely here to help you with that. Whatever angels you connect to, whatever guides you connect to, they're all absolutely here to help you, some more than others, to create that safe space for yourself. But it's up to you to set that intention. It's up to you to create that. It's up to you to have the mental discipline to take back your power of creating a safe, compassionate space for you to be vulnerable and be human and honor that part of yourself. Honor the internal part of yourself. Honor your feminine side. Honor that moon side of you. We all have it, and now is the time to really, really create a sacred safe space for that part of you. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have yet to do so, definitely be sure to subscribe, and next week I will be continuing this series. We've got 2 more videos left. I'll see you next week, guys. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to connect with me outside of YouTube, head on over to my Instagram to say hello, watch behind the scenes stuff, and check out any special announcements that I might have going on. Now, if you haven't already, head over and watch one of these awesome videos and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on the next video, guys.
That's where my dreams come in and take me away to a better place. Love is real and all my